Are you tired of feeling overwhelmed by endless contradictory parenting advice? Does the sheer volume of opinions make you freeze up sometimes? Experts tell us that most of that noisy chatter really doesn't stand up to close inspection. There's a huge risk in mixing up things that happen together with things that actually cause problems. So instead of chasing some impossible idea of perfection, you gotta figure out what stuff actually moves the dial. What deserves your energy right now? That's the real game changer. Think about doctors telling people to stay totally still. People assume resting prevents trouble, especially nearing a due date. But looking at the actual numbers shows almost zero benefit for most folks. And honestly, it can sometimes even hurt. That discovery pushed someone to want answers backed by solid science. When thinking about getting pregnant, many people feel like they have total control. Statistics show otherwise. Lots of couples start off super anxious, convinced timing alone decides everything. This pushes them toward pricey tests too soon. Really, the core elements come down to simple biology. Making sure intimacy happens around ovulation times is key. Confirming your partner has healthy sperm is also non-negotiable. Society tends to put all the effort on the woman's side. But there's a big blind spot ignored in talks about reproduction. Partners need to proactively test their sperm counts too. Plus, boosting reproductive health comes down to lifestyle tweaks. Ditching heavy drinking or smoking helps immensely. Managing heat around testes with clothes is another small thing that matters. This simplicity creates a problem though. Humans crave constant doing. If you desperately want to steer things perfectly, accepting chances can feel scary. How do you fight that push to always fix something tiny? Maybe channeling that restless energy somewhere useful helps. Like keeping track of your cycle using an app if that gives you mental footing. Later on, true dangers pop up from obvious extremes. Things like heavy drug use during pregnancy are seriously risky. Meanwhile, tons of little worries float around with no backup data whatsoever. Unless there's a believable reason why something harms you biologically, obsessing over it is basically white noise. Hypothetical traces of pesticides probably aren't worth stressing over either. The main takeaway is this. Picking battles based on what's proven beats worrying about microscopic impossibilities every time. Most harsh health scares told to expecting parents blow up way bigger than they actually are. Doctors often advise sticking to what you already know instead of living in fear. Preparing for kids shouldn't just feel like a solo mission. See it as starting a giant teamwork project inside your relationship. Bringing a child into a marriage invites a demanding teammate. Someone whose needs swallow everything else temporarily. Neither parent knows exactly how to handle that chaos when you're exhausted. Smart upfront planning then becomes absolutely vital. Putting regular chats on the schedule before the baby gets there turns fights into planned updates. It switches the whole focus from just loving your spouse to running a business together smoothly. Love stays important, obviously. But succeeding beside another person demands handling logistics and tiredness jointly. As you approach conception, there's a tough biological truth coming up. Fertility definitely drops as you get older. Medical help exists, yes. But biology sets limits on how easily pregnancy happens later on. Still, that physical limit has to meet your emotional ability to commit fully. Also, trying to find that magical perfect year is fiction. Preparation might stretch out over maybe 18 solid years. Kids stick with us forever anyway. Dietary fads crumble fast under light. Moderate wine occasionally showing no issue late in terms of study. Avoiding coffee entirely wasn't strictly necessary either. Big problems lie in overall food hygiene, not special prenatal weakness. Astonishingly, having cosmetic work done like Botox hasn't shown threats during pregnancy. Medications bring shades of gray, like watching out for lactating moms with certain drugs. Infant feeding myths abound. Saying breast milk grants superpowers is just seeing coincidence again. Those supposed benefits often link back to mom's resources and schooling levels. Unhappiness from parents spills shadows over the whole family instantly. Caregivers deserve care too. For dads, ditch the obsession with belly bumps. Men should prep for partnering after the baby arrives. Recognize when roles split apart dramatically. Both parents need to keep learning together, not let gaps grow wide. Calling it pregnancy brain is mostly just saying you're worn out. But supporting IVF journeys is a huge area where dad input changes everything. Debates over fancy versus cheap diapers yield nothing concrete scientifically. Developmentally fitting toys are enough, whatever they're made of. Sometimes modern parenting looks less like optimizing and more like staging a nice vibe. Genes matter, sure. But our surroundings sculpt personality just as powerfully. Weight gain follows calories, not necessarily pumping yourself full of milk exclusively. Hair coloring mid-pregnancy lacks any factual basis. Old ideas about sleeping wrong haven't been linked to higher stillbirth rates recently. Trying to pick genders by sex timing is outdated myth territory. Choosing unaided birth isn't automatically safer than having an epidural. Acetaminophen worry dissolves when checking population records. Severe restrictions exist for chemicals like isotretinoin, though. Topical retinol seems fine compared to swallowing it. Screen time before age 2 confuses association with actual causation lots of times. Blanket bans don't help. Thoughtful blending fits your family groove best. Acute trauma causes measurable distress, but vague daily nerves are trickier to pin down. Facing outside judgments takes intentional choices. Don't try to mold your kid into a trophy winner first. Seeking approval when pressure triggers deep doubt in your instincts. Realizing your road isn't anyone else's map lets both ways stand tall. Simple fixes plague every corner of raising humans. Gentle parenting needs structure too, not just permission slips. Helicopter parenting brings its own set of complicated baggage. Solid methods combine clear lines with fair follow-through. Using tiered warnings until timeouts worked well in trials. Medicated routes win out, based on known science for illnesses. Spacing births wider aligns with history's rhythms. Plastic bottle debates fade, next to breaking glass hazards. Timeouts succeed when kids expect the outcome and see a chance to reset. Staying nearby with teens sends a signal of welcome. Honesty wins over crafting sweet illusions. Every child calls for a custom playbook, never a mass production line. Guide them by valuing others and owning your word consistently. Globally, mandated fertility classes everywhere would fill a huge hole. My summary boils down to this. Choose what deeply matters above trivial fuzziness. Cause and effect ain't automatic. Test sperm beforehand for clearer beginnings. Life hacks improve health subtly. Accept uncertainty to lower needless panic. Health scare alerts are often overstated drama. Plan for parenthood as a united company endeavor. Age adds friction to conceiving physically. Small sips of wine look okay later on. Cosmetics likely pose no germ threat prenatally. Milk perks often mirror household wealth disparities. Parent misery stains the whole house, sadly. Dads need to plan for connection after arrival. Brain fog is usually just burnout talking. Stability beats tweaking minutiae in toddlerhood. Check out Profile for podcast summaries.